So if anybody has any questions in the room or on Ustream, guys on Ustream, I'm not taking written questions. You can't write me a question. You can only call in on Skype. And my Skype is LisaCairns12. So send me a request if you want to ask a question. And just send me a message saying call me now, or you can either send me a message or you can just call, but I might not see the call because I can't hear it. I don't think there's anything left coming for a talk. You never know. Sometimes it just fires up. It's nothing to do with me. There is no you, Lisa.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing we have to find out. There's no you.
But who would even find out? It's a mindfuck. We're just all left
so
like
we're
idiots.
just tangled in that.
Huh?
In thoughts.
We're just tangled in thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thoughts have become an energy. Like they're not just, if they were just empty thoughts, it would be easy. But they've become an energetic expression of feeling contracted and separate from everything else, and feeling like you're acting independently, or you're vulnerable to all other actions. You're vulnerable to other people's actions. You're vulnerable to when life decides to kill the body. You're vulnerable to people hurting you or making you upset or hurting your feelings, because there's a belief, the first belief, that I am the body, I am feelings, I am sensations, I am ideas, I am thoughts. And there's not a you, or you could say there's not a you, or you are everything, but as this mystery. I mean, yesterday we even explored that we can't even call it consciousness. We don't know what it is. Amazing mystery.
And that energy will do itself.
Huh?
Also with disappearing, that energy.
Everything's always been happening by itself.
Yeah.
Not by anybody's will. Who is that person's will? Who creates the urges and the impulses and the thoughts to act? Who's creating them? In them they say, I am acting, I am choosing. But who's creating those impulses and urges? They come from this invisible place that's everything, everywhere, nowhere.
Yeah. You're still talking.
All too fast.
Slow down.
But what's even funnier is if I turn the camera onto you guys, then suddenly all the attention will go there. It's all happening.
My work here is done.
You see, that's the beauty of it. That was just life deciding to walk in, turn it on, create the laughter, walk out. Watch him stand. The mind goes, why did he do that? He just did it. It's life playing a joke on everything.
But Lisa, and you never think, why does he do that?
No.
Not for this, but on other cases.
Well, I might ask, why do you do that? But I
Yeah,
mean,
but
but
not-
it's no.
Not with public.
The best way to ask the question, it's just that we're conditioned to say, why do you do that? Is what were the circumstances that led to that? But our language is set up to say, why do you do that? But it's better, what were the circumstances? What we're asking is, what was the flow of things to lead to that?
Right.
That's what we're really asking. But because of the way language is set up, we said, why did you do that?
Yeah.
As if there's somebody in there. But we're asking about the circumstance. What was the circumstance? The circumstance was sound as he thought, or the thought popped in, most probably. Let's see what she looks like on the stream.
Yeah. This is the same as in the chair.
And then the body walks and then turns it on, and then he's like, perhaps it looks the same. Okay. But it's so impersonal. It's exactly the same way. So this speaking happening in Lisa now is happening exactly the same way as individual thoughts are happening. So the thought that appeared in Stan is no different from the thought that this is just external sound. Seemingly, there's not really external, but seemingly external sound. It's no different. It's just that the thoughts that seem to be internal, but they're not really, are saying, you should, or me, or why am I? And it comes with an energy, and the energy is the thing that's the killer, is that sucks them in and makes it feel like you own them. If they're just empty thoughts, then they mean nothing and have no energy, then they just come and go. That energy that claims it and feels like it's coming from the centre. And it really is the source of all suffering, is separation. It really is. Why did they do that? Why did I do this? Why is life like that? Why is this happening to me? When that person drops, then it's just all a happening. It's all one movement, and there's nothing that could be independently acting or could be different. But language is such a tricky thing. Why did he do that?
That energy starts building up from 1.5 to 3 years.
I think so, yeah.
And then depending on the person, it will be strong or less
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah. And some people it's not a very strong energy, so the whole life the seeking is very mild and it's not that uncomfortable. Some energies it becomes really intense seeking. And normally in each body it's getting more and less seemingly throughout the day. Seeking energy. Normally it seems to be triggered by the flow of things, but it's not really. The problem is always the seeker, but it's like, why is he doing this to me? You find your husband in bed with someone, or it seems to trigger a lot of seeking to try and stop it or something. It's never the flow. It's always this separation that's the problem. The flow is just pleasure or pain, and the back body will naturally move towards pleasure, but it's not the problem. The problem is the seeker, or separation. But remember also, I'm making sense to you guys now, it was so great yesterday when I stopped making sense and you saw all the minds go whoop, whoop, whoop. Like it's also not in the sense. Like yesterday, I don't know if you guys noticed, when I stopped making sense, all the minds tried to organise it, so that the room tried to organise the talk. You remember in the morning? There's quite a few talks. First one. Or where I stopped putting it back into sense. So remember sense, isn't it, as well? That we understand this. That what we're talking about is this presence. Now we're back to the word consciousness, and I'm going to begin to then implode that. But, but what we're talking about is what is. Remember, understanding it is still somebody understanding it. It's talking about the immediacy of the looking, the hearing, the speaking, not the sense of it, not the meaning of it. The touch of the cup on foot, but it's not even cup on foot. It's more intimate than that. The light, but more intimate than light. the sounds, but not you listening, not you feeling, not you hearing. It's more immediate than that. That's already an interpretation. Yeah.
When you see that there is just one single experience without separated.
Yeah.
And if you are really true and honest, you can only say that there is what there is. How can you say that is what I am? Can you say that is what I am?
Anything can get said. The mouth just goes. I don't really understand the question.
They say you are everything or you are nothing. But does it have any meaning?
No. No. Of course it doesn't. But sometimes when we're speaking, just like listening to music, the clouds might just clear for a moment, but it might happen in a bar drinking a glass of wine. And there's a knowing of this freedom that is your nature. But even me saying all this with no meaning,
It's kind of, we're so used to this contraction and say that is me,
yeah,
that we take the me concept with the idea of it feels like that contraction and want to put it on something else.
yeah. And the me is arising in it, is in it, so the me can never look at it, the me can never understand it. Nothing in appearances can get it, yet all appearances are it. So even these words mean nothing. Can't touch it, they're gone. And then the mind holds on to it as if it's got some understanding and repeats the story of knowing non-duality. It's gone. It's gone. Hi, Ramon. Hi, Stacy.
voila. Bog roll.
We don't have any Kleenex here. If you're going to use the toilet here, you need to take some with you.
Thank you.
If you break apart the word understanding, it's stand under. And it's not only is it a static position, but you're actually holding the weight. You're standing under what you know.
Ah, that's amazing. It's always in the words.
Somebody was
Yeah.
But just somebody.
And say, for example, if you do such a spontaneous act like others getting some tissue for Gerard, is it preceded, is there a thought that perhaps say, or that you go,
Yeah.
and then you react?
Sometimes it's thought, sometimes it's just urge.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the
how
thought.
many steps?
Urge.
Ah.
Urge. But it's, I mean, what does urge mean?
I get it.
But it's the person that claims that to be who you are. You're not the chooser. There's not there's not somebody in there programming in that thought. It just appears, and it comes with the language. I'll go and get tissue. But that's not who you are. That's an appearance in boundlessness. You're not that chooser. You're not that doer.
And there's also no mental activity around you saying, oh, maybe I should go, maybe I shouldn't, maybe that. It doesn't need to, you don't reflect about
Even if it did, it still doesn't belong to anyone. It's just appearing, even if it did. But I know that you asked that because you don't like it when it does that.
Yeah.
That's not the problem. The problem is the person that's contracted. Even the thoughts aren't the problem. That's what the mind focuses on, because it can still focus on something, but it's that energy that it's coming from that's limited inside the body. That otherwise it's just empty.
This contraction can be quite nice. For instance, if you're looking into the small tissue, how the fabric of a woven carpet or the grain in wood, and it's also a contraction, and it can really be a pleasure.
Why is that a contraction?
I think it's you can look at the total picture, the landscape, and then all of a sudden you can see this fern, and then tune into it, and then look how the subtlety of it, and then I have this very much. You can almost disappear in it, and then there is.
But that's boundlessness as well.
Yes.
I don't mean boundlessness as having a wide open attention.
No.
It's just even the contraction of the person is not really a contraction, but it's just this energy that keeps focusing on this very narrow perspective. But even saying narrow, I can understand why you define the difference between a wide attention and a narrow attention. It's really confusing, but I just mean this focus on this person, which gives the appearance of contraction.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean the attention can't be on something very
That's
small.
What I discovered right now. It's just not the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing.
But so what's happened is all it is, the contraction is just that what happened, it could happen externally, but it doesn't seem to. It happens, just seems to be about the body. But the same problem would happen is if the attention went and got fixated on being the carpet and freedom being, say, in the carpet or something, and it would keep looking to the carpet, is it a certain colour or...
Yes.
But it just fixates on the sensations of the body, the emotions, what else is there? The senses, the pain, the pleasure, the actions of the body. And it just fixates on this little world, and this little world being who you are and a completion. And it just gets obsessed with that.
Yes.
And so the emotions become important, and it can't control the emotions. It's like I always need happy emotions, and it can't control them because they're always moving. I need the body to act in a certain way, and it can't control it because it's always acting as it acts. I need the body to look a certain way in order to be happy, and it can't control it because the body looks how it looks. So it focuses on this very small part of reality, then believes it has independent action, because sometimes the body moves when it's like, or a lot, maybe 50-60% of the time the body moves when it's saying, okay, let's move the body.
It has to do with looking in some kind of a grasping way or in a completely free way. You cannot choose it, but,
No.
but it's happening.
Yeah, it's just this energy that's got fixated on the body.
Yes.
And this energy that believes it's controlling the body. But I don't even know how it works, whether it comes after the urges or it's just this fixation, whereas the body is another part of the experience. Although then we say there's no experience. Another part of this.
I remember you
It's not
said
the
a long
end.
time ago in a talk, and it resonated with me a lot, and said there are all these thoughts and fears and emotions, but they don't belong to anyone.
No.
And they're fine. They can just be really complicated thoughts and anger and hate and revolt. But the suffering is when they become
Something
my
else.
suffering, my thoughts.
Yeah. And they should be something else.
Yeah.
And then this energy just keeps fixating on a very narrow part, and so it's this energy feels like it's inside the body and
That
it's
just really
stuck.
spoke. They're like stuck in this head. It doesn't belong to you. That's the freedom.
It's not about a certain behaviour, it's not a certain way of being.
Yeah. It can be anyway, as long as it's not being claimed as mine.
I have this nice story that happened. I have this friend, and probably once a year we would go in a bar and have a couple of beers. And then he said, it's nice like this. We only see each other once a year or maybe once every 2 years. And it's like, actually, he says, I don't even have to see you because I know you're there. Actually, he says, I don't even have to think about you. I can completely forget you. It's perfect. I say, what, is this a compliment?
It's the same as everything. Nothing was ever needed.
Yeah, it was so nice. We understood it both in this very moment. That's blissful. We never saw each other. It's a coincidence, but we never saw each other after that. It's 3 years ago now. We will meet again. Without a doubt.
But nothing adds. Nothing adds to this. Comes and goes, comes and goes.
I was also thinking these couple of days, it would be nice to have everybody's email address, and then again, it would not add anything because it's not the same. Having somebody's address is just a collection of email addresses.
And then you keep in contact and maintain friendship.
Yeah.
But friends are everywhere.
Yes. Still doing it. It's both.
Wow, the screensaver is amazing.
What's really weird is that this body can talk about the whole experience that's not a person in the body. That's weird.
Well, the way it happens is so there is not into consciousness at the moment. I've gone off of being, so I'm going to say presence. But presence still gives the appearance that somebody's present, but we're going to go for presence. There is this present. No.
Aliveness?
Okay, we'll go for aliveness. That's the one I normally use. Nah.
Isness?
Okay, isness. We'll go for isness. There is this... No, presence suits it. There is this presence, and presence is nothing. But it can, like this, create. But it's all nothing. It's all the nothingness. And what it can do in the creation, nothing has no memory, it has no sense of time, has no emotion, has no feeling, but it can create that. And what it does with the human, it creates all these different amazing creations, but what it can create with the human is a memory that can seemingly see the movement of the apparent things. But it's not actual movement. Presence is absolutely still and not moving. It creates movement, and then it creates a memory in one of the movements, to remember the movement. So it can remember all this movement, but the movement's not actually happening, it's actual stillness. But what an amazing creation, what an amazing robot to apparently remember the different colours. But that's not who you are, the movement of the different colours, yet it is who you are. But you're not solely one of those, you are the non-movement and the movement, but all of it. But the memory is just focusing on the body, like just focusing on the movement of the body, because the memory is designed inside the body.
But what's weird to me is that
Yeah.
that mechanism I get.
Yeah.
And then there's another thing that you were expressing, being in a different position.
Just like this.
Yeah.
So that one's there, this one's here. That one's there, that one's there.
Right.
But it's not separation.
But this one,
Yeah.
this one here.
Yeah. So this one over here.
Yeah.
Which isn't a solid thing, it's always moving.
Right. And then what's coming out of this is
different from what's coming out of this one, but it's all the same thing moving.
Right.
Amazing,
it's an explanation of the everything.
What, sorry?
What's coming out here is an explanation of everything.
Yeah, just because that was the formation of those colours. And then eventually the formation of these colours will say that, but then it will go on to something else. Just endless movement, all in circles. But it's all nothing.
This would be a great picture.
Yeah.
Mindfulness self.
Amazing, this nothingness, the way it's creating. And creating all these seeming memories, all these seeming positions. But the memory is produced out of that nothingness that's seemingly remember this, but then eventually it will gone so much that memory will have disappeared too. And then it will be back to just the movement happening with no memory of it. So then it will just be absolutely spontaneous. Most obviously right up my nose now.
This is really great. It says it all.
Ah. Oh, there's those guys over there. You see? This one's Caroline. But you see there's no Caroline, it's always moving. This one's Lisa, but there's no Lisa, it's always moving, but that's the way it's appearing. This one's Anik. This one's Gert. This one's Khaleesi. She just got the movement of the a lot of And then one over here is going bad, bad. But it's so creative. It can create memory moving. So it creates the appearance of a memory as if there's different bodies with different experiences, but not really.
That's really the kaleidoscope, huh?
Yeah. So guys, in Ustream, we're looking at a kaleidoscope on the screensaver, but isn't that absolutely hilarious? The different angles.
They're making it up.
Yeah. You see their kaleidoscopes, guys, you see? We just need to press fast forward. So when you watch this back on Ustream, go back to it pressing fast forward. You'll see there's no solid form there, it's always moving. We need to do it really fast though. Yeah. So we're all here for 100 years, so you watch the body like growth. Death. Hi Jean Michael, good morning Lisa. It's 4:50 a.m. in Montreal. I love waking to your words. Your words?
So you read this, this chap in Montreal,
Yeah.
And he or she says, I love waking at your words.
Yeah.
And you said, your words.
Yes.
Can you...
Well, there's just no defining between me and him.
Ah, okay.
Only in the relative,
Yeah.
the relative like a description, but if you look at the kaleidoscope, there's no difference. Yes, I know.
Do you think you could expand a little bit on this? Because it's something I don't quite get. When you speak, it's like I speak. It's the same.
Yeah.
Whatever comes out of Lisa's body is the same as what comes out of Caroline's body, of Gerard's body, of Phyllis's body.
No, there's one presence which you can't name because it's nothing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You see? And that presence is everything. And in it creates this beautiful body of Caroline, this beautiful body of Lisa, to give the appearance of talking to itself. But it creates the brain, and in the brain the illusion of self. So in the Caroline body a story goes of a separate Caroline that's sitting there listening to Lisa. But you're not Caroline. Caroline's an appearance. You are the presence in which it all appears in and is. The stillness is here all the time, and the movements appearing in it. And the speaking of Lisa is no different to the speaking of Caroline. Just the story or the interpretation says, I am Caroline. That is who I am. I'm looking through Caroline. Caroline is my body. Caroline and Lisa are the same thing. Just movements appearing in presence, as presence. Did that make any sense?
I'm just trying to see if something else comes out.
No.
Okay.
That's like saying what comes up is you, without claiming I am you.
Yeah.
Then look at you, you come up, I'm you. And then the flower.
Yeah. But most people, as soon as you say the word you, they imagine something in time,
Yeah.
rather than this stillness that's always here.
Because I had a one-to-one session, and the speaker was talking to me, and I don't know what I said, don't remember. But he said, no, it's you. Oh, he was doing the talking, but he said, no, it's you talking. Does it make any sense? Yeah. I understood something then, something happened then, and then I lost it.
Yeah.
And now what you've said connects me to that moment, and I
You
lost
are
it.
this presence. You are this presence. You are the stillness. You are nothing, which is everything that's appearing. Caroline is another thing that's appearing and moving in this. No different from the appearance and the movement of Lisa, or all other things. Who you are isn't the body.
And the words which come out of Lisa,
others are appearing in the same way that thoughts and words are coming out of Caroline. It's not you. There's no me or you, in the body terms, in separate identity terms. All there is this. Yeah.
Why is this sometimes called I? Like it was in connection with what you're talking about, like it's my words, it's your words. But it's not really your words either, is it? It's just the essence first.
Yeah.
So why does speakers often call it I?
They call it big I or big self.
Yeah.
Just because that's another word to call it. I before the I was nothing, or amness. And the reason other speakers avoid it because people hear that and then start imagining some feeling, some sensation, something moving in time. Where it's nothing in time, yet it's everything. It's here right now. So it's always been there. As the body's aged, as the body's been angry, upset, happy, telling stories of loss or joy or God, it's always been there. It's the nature of everything. But you can't see it, you can't find it. That's the impossible game of the seeker. Because it's everything and nothing.
Lisa, would you say that the 3 years old me is just as much present as the 43 years old me right now?
There's no 3-year-old you or 40-year-old you. There's an am or a beingness which is everywhere and nothing. There's appearances coming and going.
Yes.
It's the same am.
So when you say there is no time, it's really about the am, that there is no time.
Time always appears here in imagination.
Yes.
is no time, there's no remember.
Memories come and go, but they come in timelessness. They appear always in timelessness. This isn't a result of memory, this isn't a result of time. Time appears
but I
in
mean,
us.
if you're, like say, endless, then there is no memory. Can you say that?
No, memory will appear
Yeah?
and disappear with the human body has memory, but it's always appearing in stillness and from stillness or nothingness. This isn't a result of time.
I was once long ago in Sri Lanka and I was sitting on the beach and everything disappeared. And I was just sitting there for 2 hours or 3 hours. And there was nothing. And then after 2 weeks, I really had to remember very hard. Otherwise, I would have forgot it had happened. So there was no, it looked like there was no memory of that period.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because the memory, that's often the side effect is the memory, because the person's always repeating who it is and always trying to sustain some linear reality.
Yeah.
So often the memory becomes a lot weaker. It's not that the memory becomes weaker, it's just the person that's always repeating its story dissolves. So it's the past is a bit of a black hole. But that's the way it is. That's your nature of everything is black hole. That's your freedom. You see, it's always stillness, where the movement's appearing in it. The memory appears in it and comes and goes in it. But the essence of it all is still. It's so cute. But yeah, the side effect is the human often doesn't have such a good memory because there's not a focus in time anymore.
Yeah.
The time is just practical.
Yeah.
Would you like some more? Yeah? It's even now on wheels. I don't offer any advice, but I do offer tissue. Free. The tissue's free. It's funny that life designs that the water comes out of the eyes when there's sadness. Even when there's joy. That's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hey, sauces!
Hi. It's about 2 a.m. here. I just woke up in the middle of the night and I saw that you were on there. So I just felt like calling.
Hello.
Yeah, it's I don't know, recently I've been feeling like oh wait, I hear something else. Sorry, I'm just gonna turn this down. Kind of like, it feels like life just wants to kind of play with itself in infinite ways somehow. Not like in a personal way, but just because it can. It almost, I don't know, I feel like almost like when the dogs enjoy going out to the field and playing for no reason, or when children just go to the playground and they're just playing, and it's all innocent, even if it appears to be like something serious, like a I don't know, some dramatic situation.
A lion ripping open a zebra.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I just saw that today at the gym. But yeah, one thing that I noticed with the Lisa body mind is when there's a dissolving of a way of that personalizing contraction of energy or whatever you could call it, whatever. There's also seemingly a disappearance of fear and any notion of a problem.
Any notion of a problem, but because the notion of a problem belongs to someone, but in the moment the body can be however it is, so it can be angry, it can be fearful, it can be happy, it can be joyful, but it's not belonging to anyone anymore. That's the difference.
Yeah.
You'll never see it in the body like you think you will.
Yeah.
It'd be boring if the body was just one thing, like just happy or something. It expresses everything. If lions chasing, there's fear. But it's just not for someone in time anymore. It's just spontaneously happening. You are that stillness, not the person it's happening for anymore, but the body will express anything. The body's a robot programmed to have certain results with certain things. But in this dissolving process, often the mind wants to believe that it's the end of all negative emotions, but that's because there's still attachment to emotions, or there's still somebody claiming emotions, or there's still somebody. It's not the end. There's not a problem with fear or anger or what else is there? Jealousy. It's the one that claims it.
Yeah, totally.
It's the one so that it's not about being a certain way, it's the one that thinks that is who you are in time. There is this stillness here, this infinite here, this boundless here, this no-thingness here, and in that everything's appearing, and you're not one more thing. You're not one thing over another. You're not more the Lisa body than the Winnie body, than the Gerard body.
Totally.
Everything and nothing.
Yeah, and that's...
So if you look at the dog, like my dog's a possessive nature.
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
So dogs are absolutely free, and my dog is more of a possessive dog, or more of a jealous dog. But it's not happening to her, it's just reactions happening in the moment. So if someone tries to steal her food, then there's growling. And that, in the human world, would be labelled as a painful emotion or a painful feeling. But it's not a problem for her because there's nobody there telling that story in time. It's just spontaneously happening in stillness.
Yeah.
And it's not inside or outside.
Yeah, that... This is reminding me for some reason of a dream I had where it was just all white light, just like an infinite field of white light, and then within it there were these translucent cardboard, or kind of like, I don't know if they have them in England, but at the car lots they have those blow up things that are sustained by the fans, the turbines of wind that I don't know, they're blown up by this air, and they're kind of flopping around. But that's kind of how it appeared that the whole world was like that. All the beings and the animals and the trees and were just this movement of wind, like this undercurrent of wind that's animating everything, and things are arising and falling, but it's all happening within something that's actually real. But to the figures, momentarily, the momentary me's, it appears that, I don't know, they have some sort of substantial reality independent of their source. And it seems like the equality of everything is somehow becoming clearer and clearer. Like there's like the sleeping bag or the wall or the I don't know, the sun and this body, that body, everything. It's somehow equal. It feels the same.
The person, seemingly the other body-mind mechanism. What's your name? Sources. Facing sources, screaming at sources is the same movement. Or the other source that's beating sources up is the same movement. Sorry, I had to put negative in there because you only described positive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally. It's all
it.
Huh. Yeah, and also the sense of time and how, like, one body feels younger. I think someone just asked something about, like, something regarding age or whatever. But it feels like more and more that even the body that's 90 years old and, like, the baby that was just born, they're equally appearing now. So therefore it's not like one is, I don't know, like older than the other. It's all kind of the same primal
ageless
stuff.
So
yeah.
Then, yeah.
Yeah, well, I kind of feel like going back to sleep now. But thanks for talking here.
Oh, my pleasure. Nice to hear from you again, Source.
Yeah, that's fun. Thanks.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Good night. Good night. That's so sweet. Just a burst of energy. We can take a coffee break now. So we'll be about another 5-10 minutes, guys, on Ustream.